My stepdad gambled away my future because I wasn't his real family, so I showed him what that really meant. My stepdad Gary hasn't worked a single day in the 6 years since he married my mom, unless you count scratching lottery tickets a career. Within a week of moving in, he'd claimed the living room as his office, where he'd sit in his boxers from dawn to midnight with his laptop heating his crotch while he chased digital jackpots. He'd order my mom to bring him sandwiches between hands and snap his fingers when his beer ran empty, while complaining that her typing at the kitchen table was breaking his concentration. The freeloading started small but escalated just like his poker losses. First, it was the chore chart he made for me when I turned 17 that listed everything from scrubbing toilets to mowing the lawn because I was living rent-free while he watched YouTube for 14 hours straight. When I got a 50-cent raise at work, he called a family meeting about how selfish I was for not contributing more and made mom cry about how they were struggling while he had 3 monitors set up for his online poker career. On my 18th birthday, Grandma sent me a $500 check for college textbooks, but Gary got to the mailbox first and cashed it at the check cashing place before losing every penny in 4 hours. He told Grandma I'd blown it all partying with my druggy friends, and when I yelled at him to tell her the truth, he called my manager at Subway pretending to be a concerned customer who saw me pocketing cash from the register. I got fired the next day, and he just laughed when I begged him to take back his complaint. The breaking point came when I woke to Gary standing in my doorway at 2 a.m. asking for my bank account information because he'd been losing for 3 days straight and needed money badly. I refused because I had saved every cent from years of hard work so I could move out after graduation. He started ransacking my desk drawers and throwing papers everywhere while searching for my bank cards, and when I lunged for my laptop to keep him from taking it, he shoved me back hard enough that I hit the wall. Then Mom appeared in the doorway and I waited for her to say something, but instead she walked to my closet and started pulling out my clothes and laying them on the bed like she was helping me pack. She wouldn't meet my eyes and just kept folding my shirts with shaking hands while Gary tore through my belongings, and when I begged her to make him stop, she finally looked at me with a completely blank face. Gary said the words that broke everything. "You don't want to help your family? Then you're not family. Get out of this house." Mom's silent nod hurt worse than his words as she held the front door open while I dragged garbage bags of my stuff to the curb in the dark before she deadbolted it behind me without a word. After spending the night on my friend's couch with a bruise forming on my shoulder, I started sorting through the garbage bags of stuff I'd grabbed in the chaos. Between Dad's death certificate and old insurance documents, I found something that made my hands shake. Legal papers showing that Dad's will left the house to me when I turned 18, not to Mom. The inheritance was supposed to transfer automatically through a trust, but the notification letters would have gone to the house where Gary probably threw them away with the junk mail. I spent 3 days at the library confirming what the paper said and learning that I had legally owned the house for 2 months without knowing it. I planned everything for the following Friday when I knew they always went to Olive Garden for their anniversary. The locksmith arrived 20 minutes after they left and changed every lock while my friend Jake and I directed the moving crew to empty the house completely. We piled everything on the front lawn with Gary's 3 gaming monitors arranged in a pyramid by the sidewalk where all the neighbors could see. I waited inside my empty house with the lights off until they pulled up at 10 p.m., and Gary sprinted from the car when he saw his stuff before pounding on the door when his key wouldn't work. I called Officer Clive, who was Jake's dad, and he arrived in 10 minutes to examine my deed and inform Gary that he was trespassing on my property and needed to collect his belongings and leave immediately. 3 weeks later, Mom called from their 3rd motel in a month because Gary had lost her entire paycheck at an underground poker game and they were getting evicted again. She begged to come back without him, but I reminded her that she had chosen him over her own daughter when she packed my clothes that night. 6 months later, Gary's still bleeding her dry with his gambling while they bounce between motels, and he tells anyone who'll listen that I conned them out of their house through some legal loophole. Last week, Mom texted that he'd found a guaranteed system to win back enough for a security deposit if she could just wire him $300. And when I didn't respond, Gary left me a voicemail calling me a selfish bitch who destroyed his family. The house feels peaceful now without his constant demands and delusions echoing through every room.